questions, reports from select committees, first reading of bills.
Honourable Leader, Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the first reading of the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean Bill 2025.
The questions that the aforementioned bill be read here first time. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it.
Statements by ministers. Congratulatory and/or obituary speeches. Personal explanations. Motion for leave of absence. Or replies to questions. Notice of motion for adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance. Orders of the day.
Honourable Leader, Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Orders 6, 16, 18, 20, 42 subsection 5, 43, and 44 for the remainder of the day's sitting.
The question is that the aforementioned standing orders be suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. The aforementioned standing orders are hereby suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting. Government business is the order of the day.
Order number 9, sir, on order paper. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance.
You doing CAF first. Doing CAF first. Doing CAF. Doing CAF first. Doing CAF. Yes.
Beg your pardon, sir? Pardon? Order number 8 on the order paper, which is now to move the second reading of the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean Bill 2025 in the name of the Honourable Minister in the Ministry of Finance.
Honourable Member for Christchurch, East Central.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to commence this debate on what is a very important intervention to secure the future of Barbados, sir. The House will recall, sir, that in 2014, some 11 years ago, Barbados determined that it will become a shareholder of the then Latin American Development Bank, formerly known as Corporación Andino de Fomento, CAF, which is the common reference to the institution. And at that time, sir, Barbados initiated its first allocation of shares, sir, in the sum of $50 million US, sir, which allowed us to, at that time, access financing of up to $200 million in support from the institution. And Barbadians, since that particular time, sir, would have become even more familiar with the work of CAF. Some 2 years ago, we came to this chamber again, sir, to further acquire additional shares in the bank to the tune of $50 million US, sir, which gave us an additional envelope of borrowings of $200 million US, sir. And so we have been, over these last 11 years, sir, utilizing concessional financing from CAF, sir, to support a range of critical infrastructure projects across the country, sir. Water, sir, has been one of the key areas that CAF has supported the people of Barbados. CAF is also, sir, within that time, we have financed a number of roads across the country as part of being able to build more climate resilient infrastructure in the country, sir, and a range of other matters that CAF certainly has assisted the government with. Now, what is CAF, sir? CAF is genuinely, sir, a bank which is now, it has rebranded itself from what was the original bill, Latin American Development Bank, sir, and it has rebranded to become, sir, the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean. And within that context, sir, it is important to highlight the membership of CAF, sir. The membership of CAF comprised of almost exclusively, sir, countries from Latin America and the Caribbean, sir. With the exception of Spain and Portugal, sir, the only membership of CAF comes from within Latin America and the Caribbean. And therefore, the bank has developed a very strong and robust balance sheet. It has been responding, sir, to the needs of its member countries, and it will list some of them, sir, just for the benefit of the public, so that we understand that the ethos and the flexibility, and to understand that it is genuinely, sir, a development bank for the hemisphere, but it has placed as part of its development trajectory, sir, to focus on how do we allow small countries like Barbados to be able to access financing just like any other larger country, sir. And therefore, strategically, we are in this process to be able to allow Barbados the fullest access to development finance that it possibly can, especially, sir, especially given what we have seen, read, and heard, sir, with respect to the reforms that are intended to be re-engineered, given the posture, sir, of the new administration in the north, sir. But just to list the members, sir, very quickly. The shareholder base of CAF currently comprises, sir, of the following countries: Peru, Colombia, Argentina, sir, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Bolivia, Panama, Paraguay, Trinidad and Tobago, sir. These are the full members. Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, sir, and Honduras. That is the list of the full members with subscribed capital of the bank, sir. And these are the current list. Other shareholders currently include, sir, Spain, Mexico, Barbados, Bahamas, sir, Portugal, Antigua, Grenada, Jamaica, sir, and a number of commercial banks within the Latin American region, sir. And I will make this document, sir, a document in the House just for the record. And so when I speak to the fact that the majority of the membership of CAF is inherently within the hemisphere, the shareholder base, sir, of the institution continues to grow. And what Barbados has determined is critically important, sir, for the long-term trajectory of Barbados is to become, sir, a full member of CAF. And with that, sir, will require us enhancing our investment in the institution, sir, to ensure that all of the benefits which full membership allows each of those member countries to be able to benefit from, that too is available to the people of Barbados, sir. And people not just mean, sir, the government, but private sector entities operating in Barbados, sir, will have full access to all of the benefits, all of the financing that the CAF balance sheet will be able to deliver, sir, for this country moving forward. And so it is important to recognize that as we are here today to repeal the original bill, sir, because the original bill, sir, only spoke to the acquisition to becoming a shareholder at the most basic level, but not necessarily a full member. And therefore, the bill before the Parliament today, sir, is to repeal the original Latin American Development Bank Act of 2014, sir, and to replace it with a new subscription that sees us to, over the course of the next 15 years, sir, settle our subscription with CAF, sir. But once we are able to pass this bill in Parliament today and in the Senate, sir, thereafter, there are a few administrative matters that we will have to complete, sir, on the passing of the bill. We will have to acquire a single Series A share, sir, which I will speak to later, which then allows us, Barbados, to be able to access the full benefits that I will outline shortly. But I want to say up front, sir, that Barbados' future hinges not just on how we strategically align ourselves with what is a genuinely homegrown development bank for the region, but the tentacles of the institution reaches far and wide, sir, which is consistent with Barbados' own foreign policy strategy, sir. You will recall, sir, that we have determined that we will expand our diplomatic reach in certainly Latin America, sir. As we know, in Panama, we have the embassy there, sir. We have an embassy in Ghana and Kenya, sir. We have an embassy in Abu Dhabi, sir, and later this year, we will be opening an embassy in India. And therefore, CAF has strategically aligned itself, sir, with a number of the development banks and financing institutions in the South, which, as you will recall, sir, as part of the Bridgetown Initiative, we have been advocating for more concessional financing for countries like Barbados, which is on the front line of the climate crisis. But equally, sir, as we are seeing now with respect to what just happened in Jamaica, the ability to be able to have access to development resources upfront to build resilience, such that we know when the storms arise, sir, that we want to be in a position whereby having built resilience upfront, that the damage should be as minimal as we possibly can make it, sir, such that the recovery efforts can happen as soon as possible thereafter. And so CAF has strategically already aligned itself, sir, with a number of financing institutions to bring more financing opportunities to the region. And by region, I speak to Latin America and the Caribbean, sir. We are a member of this hemisphere. And to the extent that we have seen very clear fault lines, if you like, sir, with respect to what we have advocated and seen some success in the last 7 years under the Bridgetown Initiative in relation to greater access for concessionality, it is important that as leading members of some of these Bretton Woods institutions, sir, seek to roll back some of those reforms that Barbados, in part, have been responsible for unlocking for not just SIDS, but certainly for developing countries, that it is important that we are very strategic with respect to how we are able to continue the finance trajectory. Let me say for the record, sir, during the BERT 2022, Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program 2022, sir, which we have successfully concluded, Barbados received financing from the International Monetary Fund, not just for the extended fund facility, but from the Resilience and Sustainability Trust, sir, which was critical for helping us to finance part of the program that we were able to deliver to Barbadians. Equally, sir, we received financing from the World Bank because of COVID initially, sir. Then because of the climate issues that arose in 2021, sir. And Barbados was able to successfully make a valid case that middle-income countries, which, as you will recall, sir, middle-income countries usually do not get support from the World Bank. But because of our vulnerability, countries like Barbados, sir, countries like Bahamas, we were able to successfully argue that because of our vulnerability, sir, that the World Bank, which is still responsible for its original mandate in ensuring that countries can develop and have access to financing for development, that we were able to get access to what is called IBRD, sir, lending from the World Bank because of the vulnerability that Barbados and countries like Barbados face in the world today. And so when, a few weeks ago, we saw a statement from the United States government indicating that both these institutions, sir, both these institutions should go back effectively, sir, to its core mandate. That means that for us in Barbados, and certainly in the context of the region, given that we were graduated before because of the early investment made in building human capital, we invested heavily, sir, in education, we invested heavily in building strong health systems, sir, developing our people. And so we got some early wins. And because of those early wins, sir, we were graduated from the World Bank. But of course, we always make the case, sir, that development is a journey. And whilst it is okay for larger countries with more girth, more capacity to be able to withstand, sir, a hurricane, they can withstand an earthquake, sir, because people can get evacuated and move elsewhere and things can resume normally. Small countries like us in the region, sir, even though we have been successful based on the macroeconomic indicators, there is still an inherent vulnerability, sir, with respect to our circumstance, because our size admits of certain constraints, and therefore it is critically important to still have access to those concessional windows of opportunities, particularly, sir, when there are crises that not of our making happen, and then comes to confront us having to respond, sir, to the needs of our people in a significant way. And so, with that in mind, sir, it is important for the country to appreciate that whilst we have partners, we are members of various international multilateral development banks, CAF is unique in that it does not have the influence of a situation where, as is the case in most multilateral development banks, you have donors and you have borrowers. And oftentimes, there is a difference in policy, difference in philosophy, difference in views and all of that between the donors, sir, the donor countries, and the borrowers. So you have non-borrowing countries that tend to determine policies and operational matters in relation to the operations of the banks, which often then the borrowing countries have to be almost in a fight every time to be able to access resources from institutions. CAF is not like that, sir, because the list of countries that I just called for you, sir, admits of a financial institution which is owned by its members almost like a credit union, sir, in effect, for Latin America and the Caribbean. And like a credit union, sir, when you put your monies into a credit union, sir, you own a piece of the action, sir. And therefore, in the same way that we will bring some legislation later, sir, to reflect that within our own domestic space, Barbados now is participating genuinely, sir, in enhancing our ownership of this development bank for Latin America and the Caribbean, sir. And proudly so, because we have a long history of credit union activism in this country, sir. And therefore, becoming a full owner within this institution opens up opportunities for every single Barbadian in this country, sir, every single Barbadian company in this country, sir, and anybody, sir, who may want to set up and do business in Barbados going forward, sir, in addition to anything that the public sector, the government, may wish to borrow. And so we are setting on this path, sir, to enhance our relationship with CAF, because strategically, sir, it is going to be important for us to continue to have access to financing, sir, for a range of public sector projects, for a range of private sector projects, sir, without, sir, the undue influence of people needing to seem to believe, sir, that they can tell us or anybody within the context of the hemisphere what to do. And therefore, it is important that we recognize that we are about to celebrate 59 years of independence. Soon to start the 60th celebration of independence in this country. And whilst we will all put on our blue and yellow and wave our flags and do so proudly, sir, independence also means, sir, that there is an interdependence on other countries to be able to get things done for your people. And therefore, exercising a level of financial maturity, which is part of your independent right as a sovereign nation to do, sir, that this step, sir, today, with respect to upgrading our membership in CAF to become a full member, sir, is part of how we see Barbados being able to finance the next 60 years, the next 100 years, sir, of development, such that young people in this country don't feel that they are constrained by what you see as traditional sources of financing within the context of the commercial banking sector, sir. And therefore, as we roll out a number of other reforms to support the fuller integration of credit unions and other non-traditional sources of financing within the domestic context, Barbados is equally, sir, ensuring that at the macro level, that we broaden the sources and the scope and the scale of financing for our citizens, such that any entity that is Barbadian in nature, sir, will be able to invest not in Barbados, but certainly right across the hemisphere, sir, with less of an issue with respect to access to financing, because we will open up the window, sir, with respect to being able to drive investment. And so it's a short bill, sir, but I want to take your attention, sir, to the first schedule, because there are only 8 clauses, sir, and I don't think the 8 clauses that are in the bill should be cause for any concern, sir. Clause 4, which is the usual thing, says Minister empowered to raise loans for the purpose of the agreement, sir, which is standard language in relation to these matters. The Clause 5, the government may, subject to the approval of Parliament by resolution in accordance with such terms, may be agreed between the government and the bank. The usual text, sir, that's there, and the power of the minister to make orders in relation to the bank. The certain privileges and immunities have already been agreed when CAF was established as an organization in Barbados in 2014, and so those remain as the case. Yes, by the last administration. So the agreement between us and in relation to the common capital, sir. So we currently have Series C shares, sir, and we are acquiring more of these shares, but we are acquiring it in the context of how the bank is structured, but we are becoming what is now called a Series A member. So I want to take your attention, sir, to section 1 of the first schedule, sir. And it speaks to the fact that the subscriber, which is us, shall acquire 34,834 registered Series C shares corresponding to the common capital stock of CAF, sir, for a value each of $14,200 of the United States of America. So $14,200 per share. Now, for the global amount, sir, of $494,642,800 of the United States, sir, hereinafter the total price. Now, that is a large sum of money, sir. But I want to indicate, sir, let me just go back briefly to put some context. When we came out of COVID and we did the resolution in this chamber in 2013, sir, and we acquired the additional $50 million US dollars in shares, sir, we paid that $50 million US dollars, sir, over 3 years, 2023, 2024, 2025, sir. As a matter of fact, sir, at the end of September of this year, we paid the last 16 million US dollars, sir, approximately, in shares to CAF, which opened up, as I said, sir, the additional $200 million in the loan envelope based on our subscription. And that loan was available to us, sir, from the beginning. But the limiting factor there, sir, was that the Series C membership or subscription was capped at 4 times the amount of shares that you had in the institution. Barbados now transitioning, sir, to a full member allows the country, and I want to reiterate, sir, the country. The country includes the government, the country includes the private sector entities, the country, sir, includes individuals. So whereas before, the subscriptions that we paid only the government, sir, could borrow out of that envelope of 4 times the capital that we invested, sir. With this amount that we are going to pay over 15 years, sir, over 15 years, it means, sir, that government, it means the private sector, sir, which also includes individuals, sir, will be able now to have access of up to 15%, sir, of CAF's balance sheet. 15%. CAF's balance sheet at the end of June, sir, was just roughly 62.9 billion US dollars, sir. So if you do a quick round of mathematics, sir, roughly call it $63 billion, sir. It means that once we conclude this administrative work here, sir, that Barbadians now would have access, Barbadians, all of Barbados, sir, will now have access, sir, to roughly over $9 billion US dollars, sir, 9 billion US dollars, in loan and investment opportunities to help transform Barbados going forward. And therefore, when you look at the difference in scale and scope, Barbadians now will have up to 18 times, sir, 18 times, not 4 in the context of the government and the current arrangement, sir, but 18 times, and that is based on the current size of the balance sheet. As CAF's balance sheet continues to grow, sir, that 15% envelope, as you would appreciate, sir, you know how percentages work. I know that some people may have some difficulty with percentages, but as percentages work, sir, the larger something gets, sir, the absolute size of that percentage changes with respect to the amount that will be available for Barbados to be able to borrow. So for effectively, sir, almost $1 billion in investment over a 15-year period, sir, Barbadians will have immediate access of up to 18 billion, according to the size of the current balance sheet. But nobody is going to borrow $18 billion all in one go, sir. As I know, I will hear some people attempt to suggest that we would. Nobody is going to do that, sir, because Barbados is still and continues to be, sir, on a downward trajectory with respect to our debt to GDP, with respect to the 60% by 2035. But if we want to continue to see the growth in the economy, sir, the growth in the economy, it means that our private sector must have access to more finance that is affordable, sir. And I know, sir, that there may be some in Broad Street that can start to get frightened, sir. More access to finance that is concessional, sir. And this is not intended to be a threat by any stretch of the imagination. But we have determined that with the other reforms that I told you that will come with respect to how we further incorporate credit unions into the inner workings of the economy, sir, that access to financing is going to be absolutely critical if the growth trajectory of Barbados is going to be successful, as we have determined under the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program. And so we have negotiated, and normally, sir, subscriptions are paid within a 3 to 8 year period when members become full members of CAF. But Barbados will be the smallest full member of CAF. And because of our advocacy, we have been able to negotiate, sir, settlement of this investment over a 15-year period, but with the full access of the bank's balance sheet, the full access to all of the technical assistance that are afforded to a number of the other larger countries within the hemisphere, and to be able to ensure now that once we can conclude this, that the sensitization with respect to the private sector, sir, will start, because we know that there are a number of projects that are in the pipeline requiring financing as part of the transformation agenda, sir, which the government is going to facilitate the opening of those windows of those financing windows for the private sector, sir, so that as we continue to refine the current investment, not just of government with respect to its public sector investment program, we are seeing a lot of investment within the tourism and other sectors, sir. There are opportunities that will come on stream within healthcare. There are opportunities that will come on stream within the pharmaceutical space, which the government is moving ahead in collaboration with some private entities to be able to unlock, which will see substantive growth, not just in relation to the size of the economy, but in relation to exports, which is key for Barbados being able to sustain itself going forward. And I say this for what it's worth, for the Leader of the Opposition. Almost every time the Democratic Labour Party comes to power in this country, sir, Barbados almost inevitably has to make contact with the International Monetary Fund. Not because of anything that might have happened externally, sir, but because of the absolute mismanagement that portends the administration of any Democratic Labour Party administration. And the facts are clear. The facts are clear. Now, whilst I would not want to put any ideas in the honourable member's mind at all, the reality is this access to financing at some point in the future, I don't know when it will possibly happen again, sir, and I knock on all of the wood in this chamber, sir. The reality is this opportunity for financing gives Barbados options, sir. Options. Options should some other administration down the road, sir, totally mismanage the country, that will see us not necessarily having to go to the IMF again. It is possible. But fiscal discipline, sir, irrespective of the fact that you have options, fiscal discipline is important, sir, because if we are going to unlock and transform this economy, then I say to the people of Barbados, you got to make sure that the people that you put in charge of your affairs do not so recklessly mismanage the economy that you end up using resources that otherwise should be deployed, sir. Deployed in creating opportunities for Bajans rather than having to be deployed, sir, to come and save Bajans from themselves, sir. And that is important, sir. It is important because we live in a world now where you can't take anything for granted as you did before. You really cannot. And whilst we may like to believe, sir, that we are witnessing what is a blip, what is a blip? We would like to believe that it's a blip, sir. Some of the, I would only describe it as policy mismatch, sir. Some of what we are witnessing could very well continue for some time. And therefore, Barbados' absolute responsibility in all of this, and certainly government's responsibility in all of this, is to make sure that Barbados, sir, Barbados must always have, sir, options available to it. Must have options, sir. And therefore, what we are doing today, sir, is to give Barbados options with respect to its financial future and our ability, sir, to continue to do right by our people, sir. We have a lot of investment to put with respect to education. We have a lot of investment to put in with respect to healthcare. We have a lot of investment to put in with respect to the administration of justice and a range of areas. We have a lot of investment, sir, within the social sector that needs to be unearthed. And at the end of the day, sir, we are doing this notwithstanding the fact that we are working in parallel to ensure that the gains that we have made under the Bridgetown Initiative, that we can keep those gains, sir, whilst continuing to give Barbados options with respect to how we can live out the promise of independence, sir. Because if you cannot deliver for people, sir, and we have, I can say without any doubt, sir, that in these last 7 years, we have delivered for people in the most extreme set of circumstances. In the most extreme set of, I don't think there's any government with the possible exception of when World War II was raging, sir. The circumstances in which this government had to operate, even though we knew coming in that things were really, really, really bad, sir. We have been able to deliver for people. And that ability to deliver for people, sir, against the backdrop that we had very little by way of investment in anything meaningful in the country prior to us taking over, and the Honourable Member for Christchurch South is all too aware of that, because he was the beneficiary. I say he.
The honourable member, not he.
Sorry, the Honourable Member, sorry, the Honourable Member. The Honourable Member, sorry, my apologies, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member was the beneficiary of the fact that the lack of investment, the lack of attentiveness with respect to how the last administration treated to the South Coast sewage plant, sir. For 3 years, the Honourable Member was a beneficiary of that lack of investment by the very institution that he now leads. And therefore, he cannot come and say that this government did not deliver for the people of this country. He can't say so, because then he will be grossly, sir, misleading the House. Grossly. Because every issue that we have been able to face in this country, sir, we've taken a very deliberate approach to being able to determine what the problem is, sir, and try to unlock resources to be able to solve that problem. And not every problem, sir, you can just snap your finger and it appears overnight. And therefore, in the same way that the South Coast plant seemed not capable of being solved for the 3 years that the sewage were running in the streets, this government determined as part of its mission critical agenda, which the Honourable Member is all too familiar, that we were going to solve the problem. And we did. And we have now been able to conclude that second debt swap, which will see that investment with respect to the upgrade of the sewage plant to tertiary, which now becomes an opportunity for Barbados again, sir, because rather than the sewage and the effluent being discharged into the marine environment, the treating of it to tertiary standards, sir, will see us being able to better manage our water, overall water resources. It means the marine environment will be much cleaner than it was before, sir. And therefore, it is that kind of, not just financial engineering, but the unlocking of deliberate investment, sir, to ensure that all of our people, sir, can have access to water at a time when the infrastructure has been stressed. And the infrastructure has been stressed, sir, because of the lack of investment cumulatively over time. And this government has been committing significant resources to being able to advance the delivery of water right across this country, sir. And let me remind this chamber and the country, sir, for the better part of 6 or 7 years, there were large parts of this country in St. Andrew, sir, St. Joseph, St. Thomas, St. John, parts of St. George, sir, that were without water for a long, long, long time. And this government set about the very clear task, some of which was the financing that we unlocked from CAF as well, sir, to be able to help deliver water for people in those northern parishes, and St. Peter as well, sir. And I say now, sir, to the people in St. Lucie, we're going to get this problem solved too, sir, because unlike the last administration, we are not going to run and hide, sir, and pretend that it ain't happening. The reality is that with the lack of investment cumulatively, sir, across the country, under the last government, sir, it's meant that the stress caused by a lot of our infrastructure. Look at the roads now, sir. Congestion almost every street. Lack of investment. And I say to the people of St. Lucie, we are going to see this through to the end, sir. We're going to see this through to the end because the government has been able to identify resources to get it done. It is up to the operational people now to put those solutions in place. But it is important to appreciate that when you had, when we had to decommission, sir, the desal plant, because the salinity in the well, sir, got too high, it meant, sir, we had to redirect water, as we've been having to do with respect to those northern parishes in relation to the desal water that we had to deliver. And therefore, the solutions that will be brought to bear, sir, require financing. And this is part of how we're going to ensure that we can properly, sir, address not just water issues in this country. And there are a range of infrastructure matters that have to be addressed. And that is part of how we are able to ensure that we can respond to people. And whilst there is, sir, disruption with respect and inconvenience with respect to the repairs, it is not as if the government is hiding from the challenge. We have a very clear philosophy, sir. Very clear philosophy. We will face it, sir, and we will fix it. And that requires money, sir. It requires people getting up every day and going to work to make sure that they solve the problems for people. And to the extent that it is taking as long as it is regretted, but the people of this country must know that this government, sir, this government intends to deal with the issues as they arise. And whilst we are addressing these matters, trying to mitigate, sir, as well, any issues that may arise in the future. But it requires, sir, access to financing, because it is not as if the last administration, not just that they didn't have the will to fix it, sir, they really didn't have any money to do anything in the country. Because the debt, sir, the debt was strangling Beijing, sir, such that every time the government came here and did the last administration, sir, they were seeking to tax something new to try to service that debt. So they couldn't repair no desalination plant, they couldn't lay no new pipes, sir. They couldn't do anything for the people of this country that was worthwhile, sir. No buses, no trucks, no anything, sir. They didn't have the capacity to do it. And when they ultimately joined CAF in 2014, and you will see, sir, in, I think it was Schedule 3, you will see the original amendment that was signed by the foreign minister at the time with respect to Barbados joining the bank. The truth is, the last government then joined CAF because of the unlocking of opportunities for Beijing, sir. That was not their intent. They joined CAF because it was the easiest way to get access to $200 million, sir. And as soon as they get the money, sir, it had gone. 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 So we are saying to Barbadians here, sir, we are saying to Barbadians, the government is using all of the tools that we have in our toolkit, sir, to be able to address issues that confront this country. All the financial engineering that we are undertaking, sir, relies on us being able to retire as early as possible, sir, expensive debt because of the restructuring, and I see he's making note. Expensive debt because of the restructuring, sir, to unlock opportunities for Beijing. So the expensive debt that he's making note, I just want to know that part of the expensive debt that we unlock is to rebuild, sorry, not to rebuild, to upgrade the South Coast Sewage Plant, Mr. Speaker, in Christchurch South, sir. That is part of the financial engineering of government, which will deliver water, sir, for the people of southern Barbados in relation to not just the aquifers, but certainly in relation to the food and nutritional security components in relation to agriculture, so that Barbados becomes more resilient as part of the process. So our work with CAF, our work with the partnerships that CAF will be able to allow us to unlock and leverage is to deliver for Bajans, sir. Is to deliver for Bajans. So whilst he might seem the member might seem to believe that this is some type of financial intrigue, at the end of the day, this is investment, sir, in effectively a credit union for the region. And as part owners of the credit union for the region, sir, as owners of any financial institution, we too will benefit, sir, from any dividends that are paid out by the institution. Our ability, sir, to have access for the private sector, our ability to have access for government, and for strategic as well, sir, strategic as well in all of this. As I hinted at a function last week, once we get the digital platforms in place, sir, it means that Bajans will be able to make investments within the context of the hemisphere, sir, much easier. And therefore, the opportunity to take, so you may not have, sir, the scale to do something in Barbados, but you might be able to partner with somebody in one of these countries, sir, to expand Barbados's reach, our GNP, sir, so that as we are unlocking investment, this is, I don't want to make it clear, sir, this is not investment solely for 166 square miles, sir. If there are people who want to partner with anybody in Latin America, sir, you will be able to access financing, sir, through this financial institution to do business, sir, as Bajans in and across Latin America, sir, such that no opportunity can feel as if you are constrained because you just on 166 square miles, sir. And therefore, we have to rethink as individuals, as private companies, as government agencies and regulators, sir, how we are going to engage across the Caribbean, because if we are genuinely talking about sustainability, sir, we have to think of how do we grow, sir, grow the pie. And growing the pie, you cannot be constrained with just what happens in 166 square miles. And therefore, it is important, sir, to recognize that this investment that we are making in this institution over the next 15 years will redound to the long-term transformation of Barbados. And therefore, I am confident, sir, that as we set about this particular part of our journey in the relationship with CAF, sir, that the government, being a good steward over these last 7 years, sir, with respect to the turnaround of not just the economy, sir, but how people feel about Barbados and the possibilities, sir, the possibilities about Barbados is important. And therefore, we will engage very aggressively, sir, with CAF, the Ministry of Finance, with CAF, in engaging all of the relevant stakeholders who are interested. Because they can't help if you're not interested, sir. If you're interested in either building and growing your enterprise, but not just building your enterprise in Barbados, but being able to partner outside of Barbados, because that's really where growth is going to come from. Getting your products to market, strategically aligning yourself with other growth opportunities within Latin America to ensure that when we talk about South-South cooperation, that is actually a lived experience for Bajans. But more on the financial side, sir, that the opportunities for Bajans as well to make investment in across Latin America and the rest of the Caribbean is going to be vitally important as part of this opportunity. This opportunity, sir. And therefore, we believe that this is in the long-term interest of Barbados as we seek to ensure that our ability to meet and continue to meet our very clear public policy objectives that we will continue to enhance and finance education transformation in this country, that we will be able to link our young people, if they so desire, with opportunities not just in Barbados, sir, but opportunities right across Latin America. And as we open up relationships through CAF with other entities in the Middle East, in Africa, and in Asia, sir, that Barbadians would understand that there's really no constraint. Because in the past, some people believe that Barbados is too small. And yes, once Barbados is small, it's beautiful. But at the end of the day, we now must ensure that we connect with other strategic thinkers in allowing our people to realize that you can realize your dreams, but it requires very deliberate action to be able to deliver on those dreams. And so, Mr. Speaker, we will be, over the next 15 years, paying down piece by piece by piece by piece the subscription. Just as we do, sir, when, as you know, sir, when the vendors will come to our homes on a Saturday morning, sir, and you got the card, sir, you know, you got the little card, and you put down a $2 this Saturday, next Saturday you put down 3, sir, the next Saturday to come you put down 5, sir, whatever you had you put down. We have created a structure, sir, that allows us, sir, to pay our subscription, that does not constrain our ability, sir, to invest in the hospital. It does not constrain our ability, sir, to invest in upgrading our school infrastructure, sir. It does not constrain our ability, sir, to build roads in this country, sir. It does not constrain our ability, sir, to address any of the critical things in this country, because we've been able, sir, having gone through these last 7 years, open up a window of opportunity now where, having turned the economy around, sir, that we now can make decisive and deliberate decisions in relation to how we believe the country is going to be well served going forward. And therefore, this, sir, this debate could not have been possible at any time in the last 5, 6 years. Impossible. Simply because we did not have the space, the scope, the economy was not as robust as it is now. And I say to Barbadians, let us continue to ensure that the quarters of growth will continue, but they will only continue, sir. They will only continue if we are able to identify strategically, sir, where we can get the money from to deliver on that. So therefore, whether you are a small vendor, whether you're a medium-sized business, whether you're a large conglomerate that wants to do business, you will see on the front page of today's paper, sir. I'm sure if you saw it on the front page of today's paper, one of our standard bearers, sir, for furniture in this country was just sold. And therefore, business is being conducted, and therefore I want to see, sir, Bajan companies acquiring other companies, sir, not just in the Caribbean, but in Latin America. I want to see our credit unions backing and innovating, sir, to ensure that Bajan companies, too, are acquiring companies and businesses and expanding outside of Barbados, sir. But that type of merger and acquisition only takes place, sir, where your business climate is certainly conducive to doing that, but that you have access, sir, to the financing to be able to acquire and to do that type of business. So rather than Barbadians complaining about how much the trainees own in Barbados and how much the next, the third, sir, I want to see over these next 15 years, moving forward, that there are newspaper articles saying that Barbadian companies, sir, are acquiring businesses outside of Barbados in the Caribbean, within Latin America, sir, strategically, and therefore then it means that our young people will not believe, sir, that the only thing that happens is people from the outside coming in to purchase companies in Barbados. And therefore this, in my view, sir, is an investment in the future of this country. And therefore how we conduct ourselves as government, how we conduct ourselves as the private sector in this country, working collaboratively, because you got to spend some money, sir, in order to make some money. You have to spend some money to make some money. And this, sir, I believe, is critical for Barbados to be able to achieve the transformation that we have set out for our people. And so the schedule is clear, sir. At the end of this, we have, as I said, sir, earlier, just very quickly, we will acquire a single Series A share, sir, of 1.2 million US dollars. All right? We'll exchange some of our existing Series C shares, which is in the amount of 36 million, because we already have 100 million in callable shares there, sir. This is just part of the administrative things that will be done over the coming weeks in order for us then to be able to settle on the first disbursement by the end of November, and then thereafter, those payments which then will increase, because we have some options, sir. We can either pay, we could either, just for the benefit of the member for Christchurch South, we could have paid it in equal installments as we did the previous subscription, but we chose to have an increasing amount where it is less at the beginning and more at the end, such that we can program appropriately with respect to ensuring that as the debt trajectory comes down, the economy is going up, that the affordability of the investment, sir, the affordability of the investment makes sense for the long-term future of the country. And so when he looks in the thing and realizes that the money is changing every year, there's no surprise that the money is changing every year. This is a deliberate intervention to make sure that, as I said, that we are weighing the fact that with the debt trajectory coming down, that we needed to make sure we give ourselves enough space at the beginning in order to ensure that the growth and development of this country, sir, is assured. And so every year on the, well, not on, but by the 30th of September of every year, the other installments will be made as set out with respect to the schedule. And so I promise not to be long, sir, but just a few other things here on the bill itself. As I said, sir, simple, straightforward act that will repeal the original, repeal the original bill. And this is really how we believe that we will be able to work with more certainty in a world that is clearly becoming a lot more uncertain. And therefore, any responsible parent, sir, managing their household, will look to see what arrangements they can put in place to make sure that their families' well-being can be managed financially. The government has taken this strategic decision to become a full member of this regional credit union, as I described them, to take, in a sense, sir, try to shape our own destiny by being able to assure that we have some measure of certainty and stability with respect to the financing of this country's future. And with those very few words, sir, I will beg to move, sir, that this bill be read a second time.
Honourable Member for Christchurch South.
I'm obliged to you, Mr. Speaker. As always, I do confess that I enjoy listening to the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central, and I do so particularly when he speaks as a technocrat. Unfortunately, for the duration of his speech, there's a point at which he abandons technocracy and adopts a political posture